Are we going to do a little shucking and jiving here?
Why not?
Before the start? Getting our blood to our brains and back and forth?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. We are live from Studio B here at the Beach Street Yacht Club as usual, every Tuesday and Friday at 1300 Pacific, which this time of year is 2000 UTC. I'm your host, Tom Eamon, along with my co-host, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, Julia.
Hello.
Vedikin. We got a hell of a good show today, by the way. We've got a great show. As everybody's checking in, Mark Holland is reading the AC rules can induce serious headaches. Yes, I've been doing that since 1980, the last 45 years, Mark Holland. Why do you think I'm such a crouton? As a rules advisor, I started out as a rules advisor and ended as a rules advisor. Don Lunabos, greetings from Sonoma. Ola from the FIDA in New York City, Larry Kennedy, where yesterday he and a bunch of us in the States remembering 9/11, 4 years ago, replacing the cabin soul Clayt Embley is doing in a classic Hairsoft yacht and enjoying Sailing Illustrated. Welcome to you, Clayton, and everybody else from across the planet. Phil Yeomans saying good morning from Sydney, where it's 06:01 in the morning. And let's get on with this show and the starting line for this show, number 865. Julia, do you see that new picture I have for the starting line?
Yes.
That is the Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup, a start from a race yesterday, courtesy of Daniel Forster, our longtime friend. Daniel's known as the Clockmaker. From Switzerland originally, lives now, I believe, in Jamestown, but in Newport, Rhode Island area. And here is the starting line for today's show. You can see how extensive it is. Julia, happy Friday and happy International Roger Badham Day.
Oh, yeah?
Do you have any clue what that's about?
No.
Some of the Fozy will know who Roger Badham is. In fact, a good number of them will. And why we are celebrating Roger Badham Day, question mark. Mm-hmm. Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup Day 3. The Eastern Yacht Club, this was yesterday, won the day, but San Diego Yacht Club solidifies their lead, and then we've got the results from today. That series has just wrapped up. They have one more race to go tomorrow in the Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup. The Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup did not race today. The Mistral, you saw the breezy conditions maybe if you were watching Sail GP, Julia.
Yep.
It was breezy just across the way there in Sardinia for the Maxi Rolex Cup at Yacht Club Costa Smeralda. No racing was canceled due to the high breeze, up in the 20s, up to 30 knots. But we have a beautiful video from the racing on Thursday.
Oh, good.
Bravo Zulu to your favorite yachtsman.
Yes.
Former chairman of the board of St. Francis Yacht Club, class president of the Star Class, Paul Kayard, won both races on Thursday. I don't know how he did today. Both races, and he now, with the throwout, is leading that series, the Star Worlds in Croatia. The Ocean Race, you're a Biotherm. Don't call me Biotherm, or call us Biotherm. Biotherm is back in the lead in this final leg 5, but one boat can still beat them, and we'll tell you who. In that segment, Coaching Corner John Emmett is back at Castle Cove Sailing Club, and today, Julia, I guess it was yesterday when he did this, but he sent the video, he has really stepped in it.
Oh.
Yes, literally. He has really stepped in it. You'll see in the video he sent in. Our feature, as you all know, is Sir Sail GP, which started today. It was an unusual Friday-Saturday event because they have to get to Geneva for next weekend. So that's why I think they started a day early. They'll end a day early. They'll end tomorrow night, Saturday night. They're in Saint-Tropez this weekend and Geneva next. And as several of the sailors have said, it is the sharp end of the season. They're getting down to the short strokes, as we might say here in the States.
Right.
America's Cup 38 Cup Day. We're going to have a fair bit to say about this. I'm not going to rant too much, but I'm going to rant a little bit. I'm getting so frustrated and frankly fed up, not to use alliteration, with the whole America's Cup thing. You'll see a video, 7.5-minute video from Matthew Sheehan, a very interesting video where he goes on and on and on. Has the cup stalled, he asks, and talks about all the problems that the deadlines now that have been missed. We'll talk about those as well. And then he goes on to say, but they're really busy behind the scenes and everything's going to be great. Matthew Sheehan.
It might be.
We'll talk about that and then get your views on all of that madness too, because I haven't done an AC 38 Cup date. I've kind of washed my hands of the whole thing because we've got so much else going on that is so interesting.
Yes.
So many other events here in September that are going on. And then we'll get to the last leg. We have 3 submissions for the last leg today, Julia. Good ones, short ones.
Good.
This Day in History, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, our fantastic Fozy, and more. So what, my dear Lady Commodore, co-host and longtime friend, what are we celebrating today? There is your first clue.
Well, that's got to be the man that you put up. I have no idea who that is.
You're right. That's Roger Badham. And several people in the comments said, Phil Yeoman's among them, that is Roger Badham, better known as Clouds.
Oh, that's
Clouds. Why is he known as Clouds? He is one of the best weather meteorologists, team meteorologist. He's been with Team New Zealand for, I think, 15 years. He was with us for a couple campaigns with Oracle Team USA. I've known Roger since forever, and he's an Aussie, but he's been with TNZ. But his nickname, Julia,
Was Clouds.
is Clouds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your first clue as to what we're celebrating today. We're not celebrating him per se.
Weatherman. Yeah.
Not celebrating Weatherman per se. That is Roger Clouds Badham from Australia. Here's your second clue, Julia.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
That is a photo from the 2003 Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup, courtesy again of Daniel Forster. Born in Switzerland, emigrated to the USA many decades ago now. Superb yachting photography. He may be here right now in San Francisco, Julia.
Really?
Doing
He's coming for Big Boat?
He normally comes out and covers the Rolex Big Boat series for Rolex. So he may well be here. I don't know for sure. So what is it we're celebrating? International Cloud Appreciation.
Oh, I think that's lovely.
That's what it is. I'd never heard of it, but that's what it is. International Cloud Appreciation Day. International Cloud Appreciation Day began with one man's simple idea: clouds deserve more attention. Of course, we as sailors are studying the clouds all the time that we're on the water, and before and after for that matter. Gavin Pretor Pinney, I guess you'd pronounce it, a writer from the UK, started the Cloud Appreciation Society in 2005. I want a membership. He wanted to bring together people who enjoy looking at the sky, not just scientists or artists or sailors, I guess, but anyone who finds joy in clouds. Over the years, the group grew and gained members from across the world. In 2022, the Society launched the first official Cloud Appreciation Day. It asked people everywhere to stop, look up, and share what they saw. Why not?
Yes.
I mean, it's very important. Racing sailors, if you watched the Invitational Cup this morning, you saw Dave Reed or heard Dave Reed and Andy Green talking about the clouds as the breeze was shifting from the east to the southeast. They're out in Rhode Island Sound, out in the old America's Cup racing waters, the America's Cup course. And they're talking about the clouds and looking at the clouds and predicting
moving outside
what the sea breeze is going to do or not.
Yeah.
And I'm looking out here, Julia. We're kind of overcast today, and it's cold, right?
It is cold.
We're getting almost, as John said on his segment on Tuesday, we're almost to the equinox, the autumnal equinox.
Yes.
What is that, the 21st of this month? Something like that. Cloud Appreciation Day, and that's what we are celebrating today. We're also celebrating the Invitational Cup. It wraps up with one more race tomorrow. This fabulous event hosted by New York Yacht Club. And last Friday, we appreciated the preview that we got from the various New York Yacht Club officials, led by the Vice Commodore and Super Fozy, Claire Harrington, telling us about the 9th edition of the Rolex New York Yacht Club's Invitational Cup, which ends tomorrow, wraps up tomorrow with 20 teams from 12 nations. And here is the video from yesterday.
Expect lighter winds. We are much better in lighter winds. I hope we were much more confident during practice days. So we hope for 2 or 3 races
the reason we wanted to come really badly is I love the New York Yacht Club. I love Beth and all the team and know them really well. It would really be nice to come one more time again for myself, but I also wanted Itchner to be here.
Well, it felt amazing. I didn't really believe that it was happening until we crossed that line and we heard the gun. Everyone was very focused up until that point, so when we crossed that line and everyone just started cheering, it was a pretty amazing feeling. Well, I was told that it was an amazing event, obviously, before I came, but I didn't really quite realize how amazing it would be. I was very shocked when I came, as everything that goes into it is quite amazing, and all of the organisation I'm very taken back by, but I'm very impressed by the whole thing, and it definitely puts a spark in my belly for the rest of my life, really. Like, this is what I hope that I can continue doing for a very long time.
And we always felt that there was pretty good pressure on the right, and we thought it might be slightly right rotated, and the tide was splitting towards the top, partly going down the left channel, partly going down the right channel. We felt confident we might be right. That's all you can do, isn't it, right, in sailing? So we pushed on, tacked across, and laid the mark. And it was a great moment, I think it's fair to say. We were all very happy, as Barry would say. And we got a really nice headed pressure shift.
Super excited to win the day today. I think we got a second and a six. The six was like almost a three, so it could have been even better. But yeah, got off the line really well in the first race. Second race, didn't get the line well, but had a good escape and got to kind of the front really quickly. Kept our boat going fast, and I think our tactician did a great job today, hitting all the shifts. Yeah, went really well.
Nice video, great event.
I love the fact that they're all non-professionals, too.
Exactly. And yacht clubs and sails going up and down on boats that look like the boats that we all sail.
Yes.
Commentary, good video. They had some technical problems. It's tough doing live video. We don't need to pat ourselves on the back because we've done 800 and, more than 50 of these shows, and all the Gov Cup stuff we've done over the years.
Right.
I've learned from that, help make that click with Chris Bretschker and Andy Rose and the gang. But it's tough doing live video from the water. And Bravo Zulu to Icarus and the others, New York Yacht Club, that are making that happen in Newport. Lots of folks on. Andrew Pindar made a clever comment. Clouds, just send them in. Now, that's a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
You know what that is? Send in the clouds.
Yeah.
No, it's the clowns. He's
Oh,
making
yes.
a bit of a joke.
Oh,
Remember
yes.
that song?
Oh, yes.
Send in the clowns?
Yes.
There was also a political joke from David James who said, I haven't really trusted the weatherman since 1970. You remember the weatherman? You remember the song? Well, there was the song, I don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Yeah, who sang that?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. The Fozy will know, Julia.
I don't know.
But the Weathermen were a very left-wing, heavy-duty crowd back in
I was thinking that
my era
were.
when I was in college.
yes.
So there's a lot of clever comments here. Wow, sailors talking like sailors, Ed Worley said down there at the bottom, about this event. Now, here are the standings. After I just grabbed this literally before we went to air, because these are the standings from today after races 10 and 11. I think they had two races today.
In New York.
And this is back in Newport.
Yeah.
And as you will see, Royal Van won both races. And how refreshing to see low point scoring. Like golf. And, we all know how golf works. Non-sailors know how golf works. We know how golf works. We know how low point scoring works and why Russell insists on using high point scoring for Sail GP or for anything else that, in our beloved sport.
It's easier to understand.
It just drives me crazy, Julia. So you can see Royal Van there had 2 bullets today in races 10 and 11. San Diego has been at the top pretty consistently, although they did pooch race 10. You can see they had a 16th today, which made everybody nervous for a while. They bounced back in race 11, and the Royal Van now has moved up ahead of Hong Kong and Corinthian and so on, but they are looking good. I think San Diego's, with only one race to go, their lead is probably unassailable with one race to go tomorrow. But Bravo Zulu to San Diego, who won 2 years ago in 2013.
San Diego has had a great record in New York. And
They've been on the podium the last 3 events.
Yeah.
And of course, these events are every other year. So
is there a reason for that?
it's just because there's something in the water in San Diego. That part of it is that you can race year round there. The weather's 70 degrees is the average temperature, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
You have sun and wind and nice weather 300 days. So you having lived there for two extended periods of my now old life, there is the ability to race outside in slop, in lump, and kelp.
Yes.
Or to race inside in flat water.
Yeah.
And also, it's a light air venue. It's not very breezy, and that makes for good boat speed conditions, and that makes it that's good boat speed testing conditions. And I'm convinced that it's the combination of those factors, plus the fabulous history and tradition of San Diego Yacht Club, Southwestern Yacht Club, Coronado Yacht Club, people like our Fozy John Rogers and others. And you just go through the list: Dennis Conner, Lowell North, and of course, when Lowell North established North Sails, and he the first loft was there on Shelter Island, right next door to San Diego Yacht Club. So any of the sailors who wanted to go to work for North Sails emigrated to San Diego and ended up there too. So you had the Vince Bruns and all these other honchos, superb sailors.
Yeah.
So between Malin and the late great Lowell North, and of course Dennis Conner, and on and on and on. And there's another. Who am I missing? The superb Star Sailor. Help me out with the comment in the comments. The superb Star Sailor, whose dad was also a hell of a good sailor, double medalist. They'll help me out in the chat. I'm drawing a blank, and maybe it'll come to me. But they just. And all the young sailors now that come out of their Point Loma High School has a big active team, and a couple of the other high schools. Not Blackaller, no Rick Bannero, Mark Reynolds. That finally came to my aged brain, and his dad, Mark Reynolds' dad, was also. There's a whole nother tier of people just below the Dennis Connors and the Malin Burnhams, the Lowell Norths, who are superb sailors. So you go, Bruce Nelson, who I sailed at Michigan with, is there. His design office is there. He and I went to San Diego to sail in the Collegiate Nationals in 72, spring of 72. And, it's March or April, I can't remember, and the weather's beautiful.
You're right.
And Nelson said, "This is it. I'm moving here."
And he did?
And he did. And he's been there ever since.
Good
and it's a fabulous place to sail. Okay, enough of all that. But Bravo Zulu to San Diego Yacht Club. And that's, it's arguably turns out year in and year out, the best group of sailors, and young sailors and old sailors. And then there are a lot of people sailing in the Etchells class and in the Snipe class, and on and on and on.
Oh, I know that.
Ted Ryman says he can't access the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page. As far as I know, we're streaming on all 3. I set it up to do that and even checked it. Hopefully that is all working. Maybe it's a Facebook server problem somewhere, but there are the standings going into the final race, the Invitational Cup, as we've done a bit of a tangential going off to talk about why San Diego turns out such good sailors even an amateur team from SDYC is hard to beat. Royal Van, nice job. And Royal Hong Kong, nice job. Those clubs in the top 3. Ryman is saying blame Restream, or John Emmett is saying Restream, where those of you watching are a bit techie. We take out of here and it goes up to Restream.io. It's a Ukrainian company now based in Texas. And then they restream it. That's the name of the company. To Facebook, to YouTube, and so on. And they're actually pretty reliable, but every now and then there's a glitch. And that's why we stream. John Emmett and I talked about this at great length. That's why we stream to 3 channels, so that if there is a problem with one, you can usually find us on one of the others. My personal Facebook page, SI's Facebook page, and the SI YouTube channel. Carrying on here, just to wrap this up, the racing in Newport, Rhode Island ends tomorrow. The last race will be live weather permitting. It looks like they have pretty good breeze, so maybe a sea breeze tomorrow at 1100 Eastern, which is 1500 UTC for those of you in Europe. One Fosy Focus, Julia. Do you know who those folks are?
Yes. Well, obviously there's yeah.
Come on, Julia.
Cozy.
That is with Vice Commodore Claire Harrington
Right.
on the right. That's
Right.
out on her yacht Magic.
Right.
On the left is the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club, your favorite yacht club, Julia. I put this in for you.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
Rob McClellan,
Yes.
who's often on this show. He's there in Newport cheering on his club, the Royal Prince Alfred, and they are, he's there cheering on his club, and they're out together on. Claire's been hosting all the VIPs out on her 70-something foot Magic
Oh, how
all
nice.
week. She had a big crowd out there yesterday as
Yes.
well.
Yes. He looks so familiar, and I spent half my life there
At Royal Prince Alfred.
at Royal Prince Alfred for 20 years. And
He's often been on the show,
I know.
watching the show. So there you are. We dedicate that slide to you, Julia, since that is a favorite
Well,
club of yours.
And Claire too.
Well, of course, and Claire. Checking in on a couple other events, the Rolex, the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup at the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda wraps tomorrow. They did not race, as we told you, today because it was, or maybe it was yesterday. It was today. It was because it was very windy. No racing today. So Andrew McIrvin did not send in a report except to say that they put up AP over H, return to the harbor, go home, and they didn't do any racing today. But I have the video from yesterday, which is equally superb, thanks to Rolex. And what a fabulous club. What a fabulous event.
"47 yachts, 2 world championships, 5 days of intense racing. The 2025 Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup is the one they all want to win, and none more so than the all-new Magic Carpet E.
We all want to win, but there's so much to do. We've got different areas to learn. Every day's a school day.
As the regatta got underway in Porto Cervo, all eyes were on the new state-of-the-art yacht, competing in the Rolex IMA Maxi One World Championship. Could Magic Carpet E claim a world title at the first time of asking?
Innovation and reliability don't always go hand in hand, so that's the goal, keeping it all working. We know it works, but anything can happen.
Out on the stunning coastal racetrack of the Costa Smeralda, the 100-foot yacht faced its toughest test to date against a fiercely contested 9-strong fleet of Class 1, including the local favourite Bullet, sailed by the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda Commodore Andrea Ricordati.
We have the best teams, the best sail programs, keep on optimizing both year after year. It's just going to be all out this week.
Also in the mix, the female crew Tilicana 2 with a point to prove.
We're a new crew on a boat that's new to us, trying to show that girls and guys can sail alongside each other. So a good result will really kind of prove the concept and hopefully inspire others to follow.
With the regatta approaching its midpoint, it's Wally Cenzo V that leads the Class 1 standings. But with plenty more racing to come, the championship is far from decided. Join us again for more updates from the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup, as the 4 other classes share the spotlight on Sardinia's emerald waters.
I agree with John Emmett, who's saying, love the calm commentary style, more about storytelling.
Right.
Again, we say this all the time on here, and I think most of you agree, but it's about telling the story, as John just said, and it seems to me our sport is more like golf or tennis, and not, whoa, it's all so exciting, and excuse me.
Yeah.
Listening to Sail GP this morning. But awesome yachts, Ted Ryman. Absolutely great series. Mr. Doctor, our super Fosy Andrew McIrvin is there, and thank you for keeping us posted on that event, Andrew, and we'll look forward to the final day of racing in Sardinia at the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda tomorrow. Star Worlds, Julia, your favorite sailor of all time,
Yes.
is racing, and he is there not only racing, but he's the class president, former chairman of the board here at St. Francis, Paul Cayard, a.k.a. Paolo Cayardini, after he sailed with Raul Gardini.
And on the first 6 meter that we raced.
That he steered, he crewed for Tommy Blackhaller in the 6 meters in the very early days.
Yes, and then took Blackhaller's spot.
Indeed. Well, here is a fabulous picture. I think that's Martina Orsini. I'm not quite sure. It's in the credits, but she says, I mean, these pictures, that is a super high res. That's a 4K and more picture. And it is a brilliant series that's going on there. 6 races. They, as you know, in the star class, they don't allow a throwout. They do allow a throwout after 4 races, but they race 6 races, 1 race a day. They did race 2 today, 2 yesterday, because they had lost the day before. But there's Cayardini, and it's just brilliant to see somebody who's age 66 in a fleet of 100-plus boats with the talent that they've got racing with Fri-Sat clean, and they won both races on Thursday, and with the throwout, which they now have as of the race today, they are now leading by, I believe, 4 points. And somebody told us in the, maybe David James looked it up. This is a really nice from this morning from the Rule 69 blog on Substack, by our good friend and superfozy Magnus the Magnificent. He said, Cayard on fire, the Grand Master and President of the Star Class, has a stellar day in Croatia. This morning, meaning Friday morning in Croatia, he wakes up having posted 2 of the finest wins ever seen in the Star Class against absolute world-class opposition, knowing that on discard, he is almost untouchable in this championship. At the ripe young age of 66, Cayard is rewriting the history books 37 years after he stormed the podium in BA.
Mm-hmm.
There's another picture. This is Fri-Sat Clean, who's been a regular crewing for Paul for years. They're America 1 Racing T-shirts. And Magnus went on to say, this may never happen again for Cayard, but what he showed today, Thursday, was masterful. It was like artificial intelligence sailing in an analog world. Got to teach Magnus how to spell analog, Julia.
Okay.
I mean, it's the British spelling, obviously. It recalled and paid tribute to the forefathers of speed, Elfstrom, Melgus, Connor, North, and Blackhaller. Mm-hmm. Why did we ever kick that class out of the Olympics?
Because couldn't make enough money on it.
Ah, gosh darn. It was an embarrassment of speed riches, a Babylon of excess, with the ruthlessness of a dictator at his peak.
Oh, that's true, Magnus.
Huh?
That's true, Magnus.
That's a little over the top,
It
even for Magnus. Cayard is the man to beat, just as he was 37 years ago. In this article, by the way, I commend it to you. If you don't have Magnus's blog, go get it. It doesn't cost a princely sum. It's what, $70, $80 a year? And he's prolific. He writes not quite daily, but almost, with stuff like this. Cayard is the man to beat. I have a funny feeling that he's going to do it, and do it in style. Magnus the Magnificent, Magnus Wheatley, writing on his Rule 69 blog. Now, there were the standings before the racing today. Somebody help me out in the chat, please. Somebody, David James says that in the 1 race they sailed today, Paul finished 5th and moved into 1st by 4 points. But look at these kids from Germany. We told you about them on Tuesday. Nick Heuwinkel and Jesper Speer in the U30. They're under 30, these kids, and they've got a 6'8", they had 22, which they'll throw out now, 6'8", 22.4. I don't know how they did today, but they're in the hunt. Cayard throws out that dastardly 35 in race 2, and then with a 5th today, so he would have, with a throwout net, he's got 10, 1, 1, and 5, so he's got 15, 16, 17 points. So he's looking pretty good, as several of you have said. Ed Kreise is saying, Kreise, I think he pronounces it. One of U.S. sailing's biggest blunders was pushing Cayard out as head of our Olympic program. Could not agree more, Ed. Could not agree more. One of U.S. sailing's biggest blunders was pushing Cayard out. Mm-hmm. 66, Pindar says, nothing but a lad.
Yes, and Pindar knows.
Trust Magnus to call Kayard ripe. Go Kayard, the boomers are blooming. Hamish Ross says, nice comments. I answered that question in a previous coaching corner. Yeah. Richard Morse. Hi, Richard. Too bad the Star and the Soling were taken out for sure. For sure, the Star taking it out was a huge mistake. It ought to go back in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Magnus writes like the voice in the Christmas story. Baton Kennan, a.k.a. Baton Rouge, is saying. Emmett says the basic issues are around cost, accessibility, and inclusivity. Yeah, but you know what? When you get a lineup like you've got at this event, 100 boats from, 17, 18, 19 nations, and the list of sailors they get year after year after year,
100 years.
young and old,
Mm-hmm.
come on. David James is telling us here's the net scores now with a throwout. Kayard on 21, Doyle on 25, and Kuznierowicz on 28. Doyle and Kuznierowicz, also former world champions. It's going to be a big race tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And because they'll be counting that race, assuming they're all in the hunt tomorrow. Not a single MNA has put us. Yeah, John, so what? Just because no MNA puts it in, the reason they don't put it in is because they assume it doesn't. It's a non-starter. No one's, there's nobody championing that cause. So I'm not impressed at all by your statistic, which you continue to put in the chat saying, well, no MNA puts it in. I don't care. And the poor horse is dead. Let it rot in peace. No, I'm not going to let it rot in peace because it's correct. And when we're correct, we carry on here at Sailing Illustrated.
And the races on YouTube.
Yeah, they're streaming it live. Frankly, the coverage has not been all that stellar, but they're at least making an effort to do it. The Ocean Race Europe, shall we go have a look at that? Mm-hmm. Because they are around the boot now, heading into the Adriatic to the finish and for the finale at Boca Bay. This is where they were on Tuesday when we told you that Team Malizia was leading, and they were off the southwest corner. Here were the leaders on Tuesday. You can see the green against the yellow and green and orange. Mm-hmm. They were off the southwest corner of Sardinia. There's Sardinia. And Malizia was leading by only 3.4 nautical miles. It's been a light and then breezy and then light series. And exciting, close racing, actually, at least among the top five. There is our irrepressible, effervescent Cole Brower aboard Malizia when they were, that was, I think, from this morning when they've dropped down a little bit. But wouldn't you know it, Biotherm is back in the lead by about 8 nautical miles. They still have got 445 miles to the finish, and they've got some zigzagging to do here as they go up the Adriatic because they've got a mark over here off the boot to go around, and then they've got to go over someplace here on the coast, and then they go into Boca Bay for the finish up here with, fair bit. If they're averaging 20 knots, I don't think they're averaging quite that. Maybe they are. And they've still got 400 plus miles to go. So it's going to be in a couple days before they get in. Here is a closer look at the leaderboard. Biotherm was leading. This is from a couple hours ago. Alagrande Mape doing well again. Malizia has dropped to third. And then Team Poprek Arkea is in fourth. And Wholesome PRB has come from quite a bit further behind than that to get into this crowd of the top five. And then you can see that the Canadians and Team Amala are well back, 217 miles back behind the leader, and Amala's even more than that, another 100 miles, 308, 150, 160, 70 miles back. They're way back. They must have had some kind of a problem.
Yes.
Now, which team still has a chance, slim as it is, to beat Biotherm and win this thing overall? Here's your answer.
Can anyone beat Biotherm? Yes. Here's how. Skipper Paul Mayer has been dominating the Ocean Race Europe 2025. From Kiel to Cartagena, they didn't put a foot wrong, picking up maximum points at every twist and turn. Now, on this final offshore leg from Geneva to Boca Bay, Biotherm have a total of 41 points and a massive 10-point lead over second place Paprika Arkea. So can anyone knock them off that top spot when there is so little points left to play for? Yes. Out of the 7 boats, there is only one who could maybe, just maybe, ruin Biotherm's sprint to the finish line. Johan Richam's Paprika Arkea. Right now, we have a maximum of 14 points still to be decided in this event. 7 points from this leg, from Geneva to Boca Bay, and then 7 points in the final race of the Ocean Race Europe 2025, the Boca Bay Coastal Race. So, if Johan Richam managed to win both of those races and get the maximum 14 points, it would wipe out Biotherm's 10-point lead. But all Paul Mayer needs to do is pick up 5 points, either from this leg into Boca Bay or from the coastal race, or a combination of each. And then the trophy is his. Now, Biotherm have always finished in the top 3 of every offshore leg. And if they do it again now for this last race into Boca Bay, then they don't even need to finish the coastal race. The trophy will be guaranteed for them. But they do need those 5 points. They can't celebrate just yet, and Johan Richam and the rest of the crew on board Paprika Arkea will want to take this right down to the wire. Now, there's one last quirk, the tiebreaker. If Biotherm and Paprika Arkea finish this regatta joint on points, then whoever beat who in that last race, the Boca Bay Coastal, will get the tiebreak and lift the trophy. So it is far from over. Anything can happen on the water, as we have seen in this race, from breakages to injuries and collisions. Keep your eyes glued to the Predict Win tracker for the last days of this offshore leg, and we'll see you live on HBO Max and Discovery Plus for the finish of leg 5, which is predicted to be early on Monday morning. And then the final race of the Ocean Race Europe 2025, the Boca Bay Coastal Race, on September the 20th.
It's a slim chance. It doesn't sound like there's a very good chance, but that's Niall Myant Best, who I think is doing a good job with the video for this race, and he's trying to make it, well, they still have a chance, and this is how it could happen. It was a good explanation, good video, didn't you think?
I did.
So, you know, bravo Zulu to them, and we'll see if there is, with the not only this leg to finish, but also the inshore race at the end in Boca Bay. We'll see if there is a change. But one is not going to hold one's breath, Julia.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Man, these guys are still talking about beating a dead horse. You guys want to talk about the Star Boat and asserting that the Star class wouldn't want to go in the back, doesn't want to go back to the Olympics. Yes, they're doing fine outside the Olympics, but believe me, they would love to go back into the Olympics.
So?
And for sure. And the Olympics would be better off for the Star, Julia. So you call John Emmett up after the show and tell him he's a crouton. He's not a crouton. Everybody's, we love to see various expressions of opinions here. We had a bit of a tragic week here in the U.S. with somebody who was very good at going out to college campuses and getting opinions from people with whom he agreed or didn't agree. And he was assassinated. And that's the only mention I'm going to make of that, because, as I said, it was a very sad occasion here and continues to be in the U.S. But not with John, because John's reporting in, although he did step in it, Julia, not about starboats. Watch his report. He really did step in it at his beloved sailing club. And here's his report.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. First of all, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, and looking forward to your comments. Hopefully I'll be able to keep awake for the entire show. Now I'm back in Blighty. And apologies, there's no Osmo 360 today, because I found out one very important thing. Like most of us, it doesn't like the rain. Those sort of fish-eyed 360-degree lenses really don't like the rain. Bit of water on them, and yeah, you can't see a thing. So we're straight back to the Pocket 3 for today's walk and talk. Everyone complains about the weather. Nobody does anything about it. And it's definitely a wet and windy September here. Probably not quite so obvious how windy it is because I'm here in Castle Cove and the boat park's pretty sheltered. And the key thing is we're quite close to the equinox. In other words, we have high and low water. So this is a very good opportunity to get some work done. So I guess I need to keep this talk pretty short because I should go and help. So why do we care about having a low water? Well, the simple reason is we need to get access to the slipways. We have two main slipways here in Castle Cove and they're both well overdue repair, hence the high-vis jacket, and you probably can't see, but I've got on my my welly boots with steel toe caps, and we're actually awaiting delivery of concrete here, so try not to get in too many people's way. But yeah, so they're doing one slipway now in September, and then another one probably around Easter time. So try not to disturb the people who are here working hard. Because this is something we really need to get done. But I actually think, you know, doing stuff with the club, obviously it saves the club a lot of money, but it's really quite good fun in that community. And you know that, you know, you did something yourself. And from that point of view, you know, it makes it feel even more worthwhile. So in years to come, when it's a little bit easier to get up the slipway, I don't know how much you can see in the background, we'll be feeling pretty good to have contributed. And yeah, you know, sometimes you need to employ experts to do things, but actually a lot of work can be done by the volunteers. And I've done a little walk around here. I mean, this is about a 2-week job, so I don't know how many of them you have seen. In fact, I'm only really doing a week myself because of being away in China, but just how many people are involved in this. And I think, yeah, I probably got the worst day. I looked at the social media and I think the first 6 days of doing this, they had bright sunshine. So anyway, time for me to put the camera away. I think we've got a concrete delivery coming and yeah, let's get some work done. So sail fast, sail safe, have fun.
Oops.
Oh.
So you see that?
Yeah.
So I asked John, because when he sent the video in, he said, "Now be sure to show it right to the end." So I said, "What the hell happened?" And he sent this note back, and he said the barrier preventing the water coming in started to fall. I guess that's those sandbags.
Yeah.
So I ran to help and ran straight into the wet concrete. He's up to his ankles, his welly boots in concrete. Look at the look on his face, Julia.
Yeah. Poor thing.
Now I want to know how many sailing shows have concrete pouring as a featured segment with their, you know, one of their stars, with Emmett, who stars on almost every one of these shows.
Yeah.
He puts a segment in talking about something senior serious, and he's up to his ankles. Look at this. I got to take the comment off. Oh, no, I can't. I got to. There it is. I just, I can't believe it, Julia.
Oh.
I can't believe it. The poor guy.
Oh.
The face does say it all. So that's John Emmett sailing. Get to the front of the fleet with John, and we appreciate his submissions. Did he sign his boot prints? Ed Worley wants to know. But, you know, seriously, what I think we should mention is that you got a bunch of people who are volunteers.
Right.
And as John said, they call in some experts. I'm sure that it wasn't a volunteer cement truck. They called in the construction company, and somebody framed that up, but they're running around in their high visibility vests and putting in new slipways. And it's hard work, and there's some re-steel and all the whole thing. Does he owe money to the mob? Clayton wants to know. Oh, we do have some fun on here. And we always say at the end of John's segment that we are pushing hard, and particularly the Australians are, to get Paralympic sailing back in the Paralympics. And it's been determined on this show since January and beyond that the best way to do that is to get a demonstration event for Brisbane 2032. And if we can do that, maybe then beyond 2032, we'll get sailing back in as an event in Paralympics, because that's the way it used to be. It was in the Paralympics till we got broomed for lack of national distro, Julia.
Yes.
Lack of national distribution. They really They wanted, the IPC wants to see 30 plus countries. I think more like 35 or 40 countries. John's going to do a little update for us next Friday. I don't know if he means on parasailing or on his concrete boots.
Yeah.
I was going to do a whole joke about, the mafia, and maybe John's now headed, but I just, with everything else that's gone on this week, I didn't think that would necessarily be funny. One more event to check in on. We've been covering it, and it's the IQ foils. And this event is cool. Not only is Gray Morris from Australia continuing to do well, but now there is a Kiwi lady whose mother I know well. I didn't know that it was her daughter that was doing well in this event. But this week, ending again tomorrow, like all these other events seem to be ending that we've been covering, the IQ Foil U23 Championship in Portimao in Portugal is going on. And we told you on Tuesday that Gray Morris from Australia, the silver medalist from 2024, I think he's only lost one race. I think he's won every race but one. So he is dominating this event. But also coming to the fore now and doing quite well is Amy Bright. She's the leading woman. She's leading the women's division. And it is, however, tight at the top. And what I didn't know is that she is the daughter of the former windsurfer gold medalist from New Zealand, Barbara and Bruce Kendall, brother and sister, who are superb, were back in the day and probably still are. And apparently Amy Bright was also big into windsurfing, and now she is leading the U23 event that's wrapping up tomorrow. And here is the video from today.
Wow.
And dig this guy. Now, this guy...
of the under-23 IQ Foil World Championships
Rafferty Reid
is upon us.
Get it, Rafferty.
What went down here in Portimao, Portugal. The wind kept us waiting all day, but in the end we were treated to some epic sunset slalom racing. Slalom races were completed for each fleet. In the men's, races were won by Leonardo Tomasini, Bernat Thomas Cardell, Gray Morris and Duncan Monaghan. Everyone bar Thomas Cardell was in the top 3 entering today and remained in their provisional podium positions.
Yeah, it was good. I had a first and a third, so yeah, happy with that. Good consistent scores, so yeah. So I'm in third overall at the moment, and that puts me into the semi-finals at the moment. So the aim for tomorrow is to try and push up in second and yeah, see if I can go straight through to the final. That'd be good.
In the women's fleet, we saw wins from Manon Pianazza and Carola Colasanto. Furthermore, Maya Gisler and Amy Bright also picked up wins and put themselves in the top 3. Back in the lead after today is Mina Mobeck with 1 second place and a race she will discard.
Maybe I prefer course racing, but it was nice to do some slalom also when we have been doing a lot of course racing to switch it up. So it was nice to do something else today. It's nice to be in the lead, and then I hope we have 4 races tomorrow, and then we will see if I'm in the lead after that. Yeah, it would be nice to be in the lead before the medal race.
That's it for day 4. Tomorrow we have an early forecast, so make sure you stay tuned to the live stream in the morning, and we'll see you there.
The live stream in the morning. Get it? It's good. Every time I love this class, and I mean, to be fair, we love the Starboat, we love the 12 meters, but we love this class and this, more. It's clearly a younger event, but it's good stuff, and a lot of people are participating.
Right.
And this class has been good for the Olympics, transitioning away from the previous versions of the various windsurfer type boats, vessels, boards. And cowabunga, dude, who's a Californian, John says that Dunk, this guy who is now leading, is on the way up, or not leading, but he was featured. I think Gray's got this thing won. Although I guess the Kiwi lady has dropped a second. Heck of a jibe, Alan Long is saying. They are half the age of the Star Sailors, maybe less. So what, John? Our sport is 8 to 80 or 9 to 90, and I celebrate these windsurfers just as much as I do the Stars. The only problem with running, Julia, the only problem that you see it too, because after the show today, we'll get that only we can see it, the little notification from Facebook that we got a copyright, not a copyright strike, not a copyright takedown, but that we're sharing what paltry little revenue we get from these streams.
Yeah.
Which, we're talking about $40, $50, and then we end up sharing that with whoever that music provider is, because it's the class uses copyrighted music. And our sport is 10 to 100, but the Olympics is not. I beg to differ, John. And you can argue with me in the chat all you want, but I'm not going to give up, because I really think what we want are classes that bring eyeballs. And I think if the IOC would think about what really is good for their television shows, they want classes that bring eyeballs from a lot of different nations. And frankly, some of the events they've got going on in our beloved sport and beyond don't bring any eyeballs at all. This class does. This is a good class, I think, and good for our sport. 12th of September, Julia, what happened on this day in history?
Oh, good heavens.
Even you weren't around when this happened. In 490 BC.
Oh, I was almost around.
Huh?
Not far off.
You weren't around.
No.
Here is your first clue, speaking of Olympics. Any idea?
Well, that looks like an Olympian doing the walk to Athens. Where were they going?
Do you think that's the Olympic speed walking event? Huh?
Yeah, well, I think
no.
No.
Julia.
What?
You remember Pheidippides?
No.
Pheidippides or Pheidippides, depending upon. Groover's got it. Peter Selwyn said he was born in 490. He was born, but not in 490 BC. Steve Groover's got it. The first marathon race. It wasn't really a race, but it was in Greece where it all began. This is at least the myth. It may be apocryphal, but who knows? Pheidippides, and I had to look up how to pronounce it. Some people say Pheidippides, some people say dippity-doo-dah. It was a Greek messenger, a slave maybe even, from 530 BC to 490 BC. He supposedly lived circa those ages. And this was to be your third and final clue. This is Tola Tamarat, who was the marathon gold medalist in Paris 2024. Tola of Ethiopia ran the race of his life to win Paris, the gold, on the Saturday, the 10th of August, with a new Olympic record. I didn't realize the marathon, this guy set not only a personal record, but a new Olympic record of 2 hours and 6 minutes, 26 seconds, as Kenyan legend Eliud Kipchoge failed to defend his Olympic title. So apparently it was on this day, or in September-ish, that the central figure in this story, Pheidippides, was the inspiration for a modern sporting event, the marathon. He is said to have run from Marathon in Greece to Athens in under 36 hours. Must have been quicker than that. To deliver, because it's still only the 26 miles, if I remember well, to deliver news of a military victory against the Persians. Persians were sailors. Legend has it that Pheidippides, upon reaching Athens with the news, then collapsed and died. Huh? That's the myth.
Well, it's believable.
Okay, well, the first reporter on the first marathon got it wrong. His name was Apologies. He would have been DFL in a modern marathon. Well, I don't know if he ran in all that armor and all that stuff and those big heavy boots. Who knows? Who would know? But that's apparently what happened on this day in history, the 12th of September or thereabouts, in 490 BC. Who would have known, Julia?
I don't know.
Who would have known?
Not me.
Okay, let's turn to our feature for today, which is Sail GP. And because they're going straight into an event next weekend in Geneva, they have, and they're in Saint-Tropez now, they started what is normally a day early. Normally the racing is, not always, but normally it's Friday or Saturday, Sunday rather, and it's Friday, Saturday. And I didn't even know that until Stingray a couple days ago told me, hey, the racing's on Friday. I thought it was Saturday, Sunday. In fact, on the Sail GP website this morning when I was looking at today's results and to talk about tomorrow's racing, their website says that their racing is tomorrow, Sunday, when it's tomorrow, Saturday.
I have my YouTube set to remind me of when things are coming in. So I woke up with all...
At 3:30 or 4:30 this morning to watch it? Good for you. Oh, my goodness, Julia. So here's what's going on.
The Rockpool France Sail Grand Prix is a staple on the Rolex Sail GP Championship. With its stunning clear waters and the glitz and glamour of this beautiful destination, it's a favourite of mine on tour. There's two sides to Saint-Tropez. First of all, we have that light sea breeze coming off the Mediterranean Sea, or we have that amazing Mistral breeze funneling through the mountains. So we can have light winds or full throttle.
Look at the speeds, everyone, over 80 kilometers an hour.
And they keep it under control at full speed.
It's a home event for the French team, and this is where they held their speed record, 99.94 kilometers per hour.
So impressive, home crowd.
I did think they looked pretty fast.
But that speed record was recently beaten. And with epic conditions in Saint-Tropez, we could be in store for another incredible weekend.
They go over 103!
Yeah, Lisa mentioned that the speed record did go to the Danish in Sassnitz. They took that title from the French team. So Saint-Tropez, a home event for Quentin de la Pierre's French team. They're going to come in with a lot of form. It's the first time we've seen the T-foils perform down here in Saint-Tropez. And what I love about the racing venue in Saint-Tropez is it's quite a choppy venue. There's often a bit of sea state. Lisa mentioned the Mistral, she mentioned the sea breeze. The moment the forecast hinting at a Mistral, we'll see what we get on the day, of course, but what we're sure to get is quite a choppy Mediterranean Sea. The flight controllers are going to have a lot of work to do if they're going to keep the F-50s in the water and going fast. I think if we get a Mistral, France and Quentin are going to want to bring us a bit of a potential speed record out there. Shifty breeze, so normally the course is quite open. It's perhaps not all about the starting as we see in other venues. Right in next to the fans, the glitz and the glamour. We're here in the commentary studio, so get a slightly different view of it. And those helicopter shots with the Alps somewhere in the background, beautiful sea colours. The racing's often really close, really fast, and the fans are sure for some show.
It's racing Riviera style, and you're going to want to catch the action 12th and 13th of September.
Okay, so that was the preview video that was out, and I thought I should still run it because it gave the best flavor of this whole event. And here somewhere comes the logo. So give Sail GP a little bit of credit. But as you were all saying in the chat, they had big wins. Those of you who watched it, I watched it in replay. I sure as hell did not get up at 4:30 to watch it live. They had big wind shifts today, Ed Worley is reminding us. And Dogzilla Monster, a.k.a. Stingray up in Seattle, FRA's F50 touched 56.1 knots in Sassnitz in the previous event in Germany, 3-4 weeks ago. So it looks really windy again tomorrow, as John is saying. The Mistral is asserting, it did assert today, and it was really questionable whether they were going to race today, but they did. The small rigs on. And they did have, unfortunately, as Ed Worley's pointing out, they had some more problems with boats. I think one of the teams, in fact, maybe your team, Julia, your favorite team, the Spanish, had problems just adjusting their wing at all, controlling it at all. Yeah. And that may have been why they had that last place finish, in one of the races.
Yeah, today.
But one of the races today, that's what I mean. So let's give you, I've put together, because they hadn't come out with a recap video by the time we went to air, but I'll give you the best, I think a pretty good recap on that I put together myself using the website and so on. Emirates GBR tops the table after crazy Saint-Tropez opener today, Friday. Dylan Fletcher's Emirates GBR emerged unscathed and on top from a wild opening day, which saw Red Bull Italy score their first Sail GP win. Bravo, Zulu to them. I was actually happy to hear that. So good for them. Sail GP is renowned, or the British crew rather, proved that consistency is key, successfully navigating their way through 4 snakes and ladders races. Yeah, it was really shifty, as Ed and others have said, at the Rockwool France Sail Grand Prix. Sail GP is renowned for delivering captivating action, and the first day in Saint-Tropez delivered in spades with dramatic comebacks, start line steals, and 4 different winners in 4 races. So, that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Nice to see Red Bull win their first race. Rockwool's the sponsor. They're also the sponsor of the Danish boat, and they are sponsoring this event. Huge gusts and massive dips in the notorious Mistral, wind blowing through the Bay of Saint-Tropez, provided a real test for the 12 teams, a full complement of boats gracing the starting line following miracle repairs. And that is bravo zoo. That deserves applause as well. To the Brazilian and American F-50s. Championship leaders, the Bonds Flying Rouge, Tommy Slingsby's Australian team, flew out of the blocks, dominating the start of the opening race and defending their lead from the Brits to claim first bragging rights.
Absolutely beautiful day here on the Côte d'Azur on the Mediterranean here in Saint-Tropez, France, and it will be the Bonds Flying Rouge looking to strike first, although they are way off the mark. They need to take a last second. There it is. Tom Slingsby's got it sorted out, and the Emirates winning moment goes to the Bonds Flying Rouge in race number 1 here in Saint-Tropez.
A last-second maneuver. Why don't they say jibe? Julia?
Well, because...
What's wrong with saying jibe or tack?
Which way are you going to jibe?
Well, jibe is always one direction, tacking is another direction. So let's get people educated. But that was where the fun stopped for Slingsby's Aussie crew, following up with 2 10th places amid the chaos on the race course. Onboard Emirates GBR, it was a different story. Fletcher and strategist Hannah, didn't spell her name right there, Hannah Mills guided the team through, that's not my graphic, guided the team through 3 solid races, their worst result a 6th, before signing off the day with a win.
And I'll look forward to hearing the feedback on that after racing.
As they come down the home stretch, it was a tight race all the way through all 6 legs, but in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR. Dylan Fletcher and company take a bow in race number 4.
Okay, so bravo Zulu to the Brits.
Stevie for Germany, Deutsche Bank. They were in the mix. Eric Coastgarten-Heil and his crew really rock solid in 2nd place, and it looks like
and you can see the Brazilians were 3rd in that race, so that's kind of cool. That's good stuff. Now, here's some more news. Fletcher joined he joked rather, in the official press conference that their tactic would be to, this is before the racing, would be to steer clear of the other teams in an attempt to avoid any drama on the water.
Yeah.
In reality, it's not in Fletcher's DNA to do anything but push as hard as possible, but he'll be happy with 4 bankers, good races, that see them go into day 2 a point ahead of the black foils. And hardly any talk at all about the Kiwis. I wonder if Russell and his PR people aren't getting along with the Kiwis. Meanwhile, Ruggero Tita's Red Bull Italy joined the Sail GP winner circle with a victory in race 3. Their first since joining the Rolex Sail GP Championship for the 2025 season.
See.
around the buoy they go, and there they see the finish line with the legend Jimmy Spithill, their CEO at command, and you've got Ruggero Tito out in front, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time NACRA world champion, and now you can add to his resume a winner at Sail GP, and it comes in the 3rd race at the Rockwool France Sail Grand Prix, Saint-Tropez. Welcome to the show, Italy.
Oh, there'll be some ripples on the Red Bull now, won't there, out there? A windy race win, and the Italian fans go crazy. And we know one Jimmy...
There, your Spanish were second, Julia, in that one.
And nobody mentioned it.
Well, okay, but they're just getting the winner. And this is just an excerpt from the video because there was no wrap-up video, and I thought this was the best way to...
No, but I was mentioning before the announcers skipped the fact that
Yeah, well, sometimes they focus on, it's strange, none of us is perfect. I know when we're doing Gov Cup, we're not always perfect either. But I think that other than the histrionics, if that's the right word, if they would just calm down, just bring it down 1 or 2 clicks. Not, they don't have to come down and like they're watching a poker match and saying, he just, or a snooker match. How's that? Or a pool tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring it down a click or two and, talk us through tacks and jibes and knots. Knots. Somebody yesterday, I guess it was Stingray, said, they're going to have 40 kilometers per hour wind. What is that knots? I said, half of that's 20 knots, give or take. And they did. They had 20 plus today. They had a good breeze. And they're going to have even maybe more breeze tomorrow. We shall see. Okay, so back to the story here. It's a huge moment for SailGP's newest team, founded and co-owned by Jimmy Spithill, following his departure from the American team at the end of 2023. It also made amends for a slow start that saw them finish dead last following a nosedive in the opening race, although an 11th in race 4 put a damper on celebrations. So Peter Burling's, just for the record, because they didn't mention it, and I thought we should, Peter Burling's Black Foils won the other race today. Okay, so there are the standings going into tomorrow's day 2. Tomorrow's Saturday. Emirates GBR on top, but it's tight. They've got 31 points, and Pete Burling is just a point behind Dylan. And your team, Julia, despite their problem in that one race, are on third. Mm-hmm. In third place, Los Gallos, yes, if you're Castellano. Diego Botin's team from Spain in third. Germany having a pretty good regatta. They've had a couple good regattas now in a row.
Yeah,
Tom Slingby
really
is
good.
Say again?
They looked really good last one.
When you watched it.
Yeah.
And Tom Slingsby's always in the hunt. I think most people think he's still going to win this regatta, if not the entire year, or at least the entire year, if not this regatta. France struggling a bit in their home event, down in 6th place, and then it goes down from there, including the U.S., who could barely get out of their own way again today. Blake asks who was driving the USA boat now. Taylor Canfield was driving, and he managed to get scores of 8, 12, 9, 7. And they are in second to last place, as usual.
Martina Grail has almost gotten the podium.
Well, she had a third in one of the races,
right.
so she's doing better. And, of course, that's after their boat was completely wrecked, and they fixed it, and they managed to get it there. So bravo's Lou to Russell and his tech team for getting both those boats back together. Should we mention who the owner of SailGP is and the fact that he's now the richest guy, according to Forbes and others, Fortune magazine, Forbes magazine, the richest guy in the world, Julia?
Yes.
Your friend and mine.
Yes.
Larry Ellison.
Yeah.
He has eclipsed Elon Musk. $400 billion. His stock went up by, 60. It went up. His net worth did. $100 billion, $90 billion. But his stock went up 60 points a couple days ago. I'm glad I bought some. I always bought, not because I thought it was going to make me rich, and it hasn't, but I always thought it was proper to buy shares of America's Cup sponsors.
Right.
Oracle, BMW, Nespresso, on down, Nestle, whoever owns Nespresso, Nestle, on down the line. So the U.S. team is still obviously crotonic, but not the Brits. This was Hannah's reaction after their fine day today.
Oh, well, epic conditions, bit of a mistral today, but the breeze was actually really up and down, sort of really bottom end from the foils that we had and the wing that we had, right up to top end. So yeah, it was a full-on day of racing, lots of place changes, boats coming off the foils, yeah, had it all. Doesn't really get any better in terms of enjoyable. It's just all on at times. The strategy is really critical as well because the breeze is changing so much. We had kind of a 60-degree shift range and big up and down. So yeah, it's sort of every person on the boat needed to kind of be right on it to do well. Yeah, I think we did an awesome job today of just hanging in there when we had to hang in there and not having any real clangers, because that would have been super easy to do because it was such tricky conditions. And just, yeah, a couple of races we just managed to plug away enough to get a good counter, and then that last one we managed to win. So yeah, it was a great day.
Great video, and thanks to, go ahead.
Yeah, she's terrific.
She is terrific. She is terrific and more. I don't know, Margarita, if the USA team is up for sale. There is a 13. Russell did announce a 13th team coming in next year. And then they're going to have a boat training. He also said in the last couple of days in the run-up to all of this, he did a bit of a media preview for next season and beyond. And he's going to have another boat, a 14th boat, available as a training boat at some venue where everybody can go and train in it, new teams and otherwise. And that team, that will be another team coming in, a 14th team. So Sail GP, as you all know, is going from strength to strength, while the America's Cup seems to be parked or in reverse, one or the other. Saturday, tomorrow, the second day of the 2-day regatta, more Mistral apparently, and they'll be, and not the windsurfer Mistral, Breeze. Breeze on Saturday. That racing is an hour earlier, Julia. Yes. So if don't get up at 4:30 to watch it. The racing tomorrow is at 12:30 CET, 03:30 our time. And that presumably is so, again, they can pack up and get out of there and get to Geneva for the regatta, which is next weekend. And by the way, next weekend's regatta is Saturday, Sunday. They need that extra day to get there and get set up. So on Lac Le Mans in Geneva, Lake Geneva, that should be an interesting series indeed. Now, Julia, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. You didn't even start. You were about to say something.
I was.
It's still such a cool thing to be able to see in caps, he's shouting, see the sailors actually sailing. He's shouting, Blake is, these vessels. Could not agree more. And this is becoming the prevalent comment, especially with respect to the America's Cup. Sailors, like we saw in the Invitational Cup, like we see in the Star Worlds, like we see even in the IQ foils. Sailors doing things, trimming sails, moving their weight, making the boats go, making tactical decisions. How refreshing.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Julia, how refreshing.
Indeed.
John Emmett's going to accuse me of being an old fart, which I am.
I was going to say, got news for you.
He got news for you, John. It's the way the sport used to be, and I wish it were continuing. By the way, I'm going to stop there and make one other comment, Julia, and that is that there is a video on YouTube. Several of you have sent it to me, and it's the title of which is "Why is our sport dying?" or "How does our sport is dying?" or something is sailing, and it's been out for don't send it to me anymore. I've got it. I've seen it. I watched it 2 weeks ago when it first came out. It came up on one of my search engines. I wrote to the guy, and I believe he's in the marine trade. He's in the industry. I'm not sure. I believe he's also a Michigander, but he's not using his real name on his emails, I think. And I asked him to come on the show. I said, I'll play your video. It's an interesting, 4, 5, 6 minute video about why the sport of sailing is dying. And he's using a lot of different examples of the cost and all these boats parked up in marinas around the world and the cost of these boats and the cost of maintaining the boats and operating the boats and the cost of sailing and of sails rather. And yada. So we all get it. The sport has become too expensive. The big three sailmakers now are in a monopoly, and we've got monopoly classes that are owned and operated by single businesses in cahoots with World Sailing rather than owner-operated owners like the Star class and the Finn class. We hope the ILCA stays as an owner-operated class and not as a monopoly class. But I agree with John Emmett. The other problem with the guy's title and his thesis is the sport of sailing is dying. It would have been better. How can we grow? How can we stop the sport from shrinking? And how can we make it grow again? So don't send me this video anymore. Those of you who see it, thank you very much. I've seen it. I've talked to the guy. I invited him on the show. I don't like people who don't want to debate things with using their real name. I mean, I don't appreciate that. So I don't think our sport's dying. It's never going to die. It has certainly shrunk since the 70s with the advent of fiberglass and Dacron when we moved from wood and cotton sails to fiberglass and Dacron, and when the Kennedys in this country were sailing, Julia, and I think brought a lot of eyeballs to the sport on the covers of Saturday Evening Post and Look magazine, Life magazine, and again, it was the Kennedys. So a better title would be, let's grow the sport, our beloved sport, and that's what we like to do here, spread the good word, and about all these wonderful classes, all these wonderful events, and all these fabulous sailors, and criticize the aspects of our sport that we think deserve it, and celebrate the aspects of our sport that don't. But if you're going to put a video out, be willing to come here on this show, please, and discuss it and debate it, like all of our FOSI, all of these people do. We can disagree, and we do, and we will. But we can always discuss it civilly and properly. Okay, back to SailGP just for a minute. We've got a FOSI poll. We haven't done one of these in a while, Julia.
Yeah.
The Foxtrot Papa, the FOSI poll. Code flags. Saint-Tropez on Saturday. Tomorrow, Julia, start with you.
Oh, gosh.
Who's going to win?
I have to change my mind, I think.
You don't think your Spanish are going to win tomorrow?
I don't. I think you're going to do very well, but I don't think they're
The Brits? The Kiwis? Excuse me? Who? We're going to ask all the FOSI. We always like to do this.
Yeah.
Clark Chapin, I don't know if he's on, but we try to write down whose picks are whose here. Take a pick, Julia.
Oh, I'll stick with Spain just because I think I ought to.
Okay, good. Well, if you're nothing else, you're consistent, like your politics. Ted Ryman says GBR. John Emmett says he thinks Spain has the dodgy boat. The Black Foils, Dogzilla Monster, who's maybe the biggest SailGP fan on here. He loves SailGP. He's become a big supporter of it. He was always a big supporter of the Cup. Blake agrees with Ted Ryman. He says the Brits. John Emmett says he's going with the Brits, then the Aussies, then the Kiwis. Anybody else want to weigh in? Alex Hayworth says the Brits are supporting the Spanish because our country owes so much money to Banco Santander.
Aha.
Oh, my goodness. I am going with the Kiwis. They're just hiding there in second place, Julia.
Yeah, they are.
And tomorrow, they may not even race. If they don't race, then the winner is going to be the Brits, today's leader. So it may be that they don't win. Rick Banner is going with the Aussies. Peter Stevenson, a.k.a. Pedro Farthing Sailor, the back end of SailGP is impressive. Video, audio, logistics, and the overall professional approach. And, Julia, he loves your scarf.
Oh, thank you. St. Francis Yacht Club thanks you.
Tom Pace says, get me a Vegas odds book. I'll put $10 on the U.S. Joe Holtzman's going with the Brits. Okay, well, I think most people think it's going to be the Brits. I'm going to go with the Kiwis. Write that down, and we'll see on Tuesday if most of you who picked the Brits, except for Rick Banner, went with the Australians. Anybody else go with the Australians?
I'd rather see them win than the Brits.
Why?
Just because.
Dylan Fletcher's the up-and-coming star of our sport. Maybe is the biggest star in our sport at this point. He's super duper. Alan Long says Great Britain. Okay, we'll see. We shall see. Shall we move on from SailGP? And now the America's Cup. This is a Cup day. We haven't done one in a while because, frankly, I think the thing is so screwed up. I think it is, as the late, great Commodore Harry Anderson of the New York Yacht Club would have said, it is screwed up to a fare thee well. And here is why in this Cup day. First of all, I've got this video from Matthew Sheehan, a little longer than we normally play, 7 minutes and 45 seconds, closing in on 8 minutes, I think, in which he very succinctly, clearly goes into the whole, well, what's going on? Forget about the class rule, which we're going to talk about after this. And he touches on that at the top of this video. And then he goes on and says, but wait, on September 9th, we were due an America's Cup partnership agreement. And it's now September 12th. And we don't have an America's Cup partnership agreement. I told you weeks ago they wouldn't have one on the 9th.
Yes.
Because it's way too complicated. And it is ultimately going to require an amendment to the deed of gift, which I've also been telling you will not happen. Hamish Ross, when he was last on the show, told you it will not happen, notwithstanding the comment by the current Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, who gave I think, an offhand comment to Grant Dalton, who put it in the second paragraph of that press release some weeks ago saying, I think it's time we reform the America's Cup. This is the Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, and Mr. Dalton grabbed that quote and put it in, convincing people that the New York Yacht Club agrees with an amendment to the deed of gift, which I rather doubt that the club as a group and a board of directors, a board of trustees as a group, I rather suspect they do not agree with that. So let's play the video. And I'm going to ask you to think as we're going through this video is whether or not Matthew Sheehan's assertion, especially at the end, that they're really at it, busy, and everything's going great. It's just all subterranean behind the scenes. Is Matthew correct or croutonic? And that's the central question here going into Matthew's video. The Jody Shields, yes. Correct or croutonic slide. Here's Matt.
You might have seen the news story recently about the new AC38 class rules and the technical regulations that have been published. Normally, I'd be right into that, geeking out for all it's worth. But that's not the big story. Instead, the America's Cup is on the verge of a very big, some might say historic change. That's all very well, but has the America's Cup stalled? It's not often that the Kiwis miss a deadline. In fact, they've been justifiably proud of having hit all the key dates in what's been a very busy Cup tenure so far. But avid followers will know that this week there was one date that wasn't met. And while it lies below the radar for most, the document that was due to be signed on the 9th of September is a very important one. Because whilst we've seen the AC38 protocol that sets out the next America's Cup, the biggest and most significant change to the next Cup cycle and beyond is the way in which it'll be run. And I suspect it's going to be controversial. In simple terms, for previous Cup cycles, the defenders arrange the Cup match itself, sorting the venue and finding the funds to do it. The Challenger of Record represents any other challengers that might want a crack at the Cup and organises a series of races to decide who will get to go to the match. In recent Cups, those responsibilities have started to merge. Last time around, the Kiwis organised pretty much the whole gig, with the help from the Brits, who were the Challengers of Record. This time, the responsibilities and funding will come down to all the competing teams, including the defender. They've called this the America's Cup Partnership, the ACP. It's an interesting idea, and one that is hoped that will provide some structure and certainty to this and future America's Cups. You can see their point, especially given how much progress SailGP appears to be making recently, with a busy and regular schedule of events stretching way into the distance. Sponsors and backers like that kind of talk, and it shows. But of course, SailGP and the Cup are two very different beasts. SailGP is essentially owned and run by one organisation, while the whole point of the 174-year-old America's Cup is that it can never be owned.
For the America's Cup.
And it's that, albeit simplified, fact that makes the long-term future for the Cup so difficult to pin down. On the other hand, many will argue that it's this aspect, defined by the deed of gift, that is the reason why the Cup has endured for longer than any other international trophy, and that changing the basic structure will ultimately destroy it. It's also been believed that the deed of gift couldn't be changed without the consent of the original trustees, and given that none of them are with us anymore, changing the document couldn't be done. But the interesting point right now is that it seems to be the partnership agreement, the ACP, that's proving hard to achieve. In many ways, that's not surprising. The principle may be clear, but once you start digging into the detail, it's a minefield. Aside from the simple negotiation between teams, the financial input, presumably, will be pretty hefty for all. So how do you protect a team's investment? How do you ensure that teams abide by the ACP? And what happens when a team wins and then decides to pay a fine and ditch the partnership agreement? And what about the tax issues? I bet that's not simple. What happens if the Cup receives a late entry? When you start thinking about it, the list grows and grows. So perhaps it's no surprise that signing is taking longer than might have been expected. Grant Dalton hinted that this might be the case a few weeks ago when the new protocol was announced. From what I'm hearing, it sounds and feels like there's an agreement between the parties involved and that a deal will be signed, and soon, because the schedule for AC38 is pretty tight. A series of preliminary regattas for next year, yes, next year, in AC40s, then the Cup in Naples in 2027 in the big boats. The class and technical rules have just been released, which in a way helps to emphasise that teams need to be sailing pretty much now. But there lies the big question. What teams are we talking about? Who is actually going to be in for the next Cup? The answer is far from clear, but at this stage I think we might see two teams exit the stage. Alinghi has been silent for weeks, months even, and from what I'm hearing, they're not happy with how things are panning out. In fact, it sounds like their boss is pretty hacked off. American Magic don't seem too enthusiastic either. All we've seen so far is a short statement saying that they were evaluating whether the agreements provide a viable foundation for American Magic to participate in the 38th America's Cup. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. So who does that leave? Well, the British, of course, but currently under their team name Athena Racing. Luna Rossa, with Naples as a venue, it's hard to imagine them not being there. And the French also look pretty certain. Plus, it sounds like there may be a new team coming, a second Italian challenger. If that happens, 4 challengers, 1 down from last time. It's tempting to get drawn into a debate on how many is the right number of challengers. But from the Challenger of Records point of view, if the ultimate goal is still to win the America's Cup, more challengers means more teams to beat and more to organise. In short, a bigger headache. And while I'm sure they'll never put it like that, that's what it comes down to. But returning to the hot topics, the America's Cup partnership sounds like it's going to happen. And why do I think that? Because it sounds like the modification to the deed of gift is on its way, and that is very rare. Here, the particularly interesting thing to note is that it sounds like it has the full support of the New York Yacht Club, whose Commodore Jay Cross is closely involved. That alone is going to turn quite a few heads. So while it might just sound like politics and paperwork, and you might not be in favour of the outcome, a big change to the America's Cup, it's on its way. So has the America's Cup stalled? It might look like it on the outside, but behind the scenes, they are working at a frantic pace.
Okay, Julia. Correct or Curtonic? There's a big change to the America's Cup coming, including an amendment to the deed of gift supported by the New York Yacht Club. Is Matthew correct or Curtonic?
Curtonic, and I don't.
Why?
Well, because I don't think the gift, the original deed can be changed, and
well, it can be changed if there is, if the cup becomes impracticable, if he becomes, as Hamish has educated us and others, as when we had Hamish on the show last, if it becomes impossible to conduct the event, and then it's like if you have a trust or a deed, and you leave a bunch of money for research into the production of high-tech buggy whips.
Yes.
And that's your deed. We can't change that unless we go to court and say, well, excuse me, at the time that deed was, or that trust, that will was given,
There were lots of buggy
there were
whips.
lots of buggy whips. Not that there would be in your case. So, please court, and then the court says, well, anybody object to this? And if a whole bunch of people come and say, well, we object to it because we're actually in the business of researching buggy whips, the court will probably say, sorry, Charlie, it's going to stay the same. But if nobody objects, and indeed if people come and say, for example, when it was, you got to sail your boat on its own bottom across the Atlantic to get to the America's Cup venue, they went to the court and they said, hey, this is no longer practical. This is impracticable. And the court
From
said,
Australia.
from Europe. This was the 56 Amendment, so they could get the cup re-going in 58. And is anybody object to that? No, in fact, Your Honor, nobody objects to it. We all support it. Oh, okay. Stamp.
Right.
Order issued. But it's only happened a couple, 3 times now. So it's pretty rare, and it ain't going to happen in this case because the cup is going along just fine. You don't need this America's Cup partnership and this change to the deed of gift, that all the things that are embodied in this proposal, apparently, you don't need it to make the cup work. The cup is a single challenger and a single defender. The deed is quite clear. You make the arrangements, so we don't need to go through all of that again. So, Julia, I agree with you. I don't see how this is going to happen, but let's see what the others have to say.
What I do agree with is that I think that everybody's working hard behind the scenes.
I'm not even sure that's true. I think they've run into a huge obstacle. I mean, Matthew raised a good point too that I hadn't thought of, is that the whole, how are they going to sort out the taxes of an ACP, America's Cup Partnership? If they pool all the monies from all the sponsor, the television, all into one pot. Oh, man. Ed Worley says it's Curtonic. Baton Rouge says in the biz, this is called a tease. Blake Middleton is bored again. He hates the cup. At least he hates this discussion, wants to go back and talk about SailGP. I'm sorry, Blake, but a lot of other people were upset. I was getting criticized privately and in the show for not bringing people up to date on the cup. So we haven't done one of these in a while. So David James, there's one thing I think we can all agree on. Don't get into a thumb war with one of the America's Cup sailors. They will have impressive dexterity from pushing buttons. We're going to talk about the class rule and that in a moment, so you could keep your powder dry on that topic. Either a lot of lawyers beavering or a lot of beavers lawyering, Clark Chapin says. Hamish Ross, historian and Dr. Hamish Ross, and lawyer, there is a special arrogance to tell the future how to organize their America's Cup matches.
Yes.
Indeed, Hamish.
The voice of wisdom.
Let's talk about the class rules, shall we? Okay, so there is a lot of ink now about what they did issue, unlike, say, by the way, back to the point Hamish called me the other night and said, hey, you know, the protocol's done. They didn't sign that agreement by the agreed upon date, the 9th of September. That is an ACP, an America's Cup Partnership. And the failure to do so made the current protocol signed in in Auckland, in New Zealand, at the RNZ, a month or so ago now. It made the current protocol, as Richard Nixon would have said, inoperative. It's no longer.
Yeah.
It's kaput, Julia, to use a good German word.
Yes. Okay.
So what is really going on, though, is that they have the ability to amend the protocol to make that date, instead of the 9th of September, the 9th of October, or the 9th of tell me what. And that's what I'm sure they're doing. I assume they're doing. I haven't heard for sure. The other question is, what's New York Yacht Club's real feelings about this? Well, they are being very close, holding their cards close to their chest. I know there's no activity within the team because I know people who worked for the team have got other jobs now. Other people who were standing by to go work for the team have been told, hey, keep your powder dry. This isn't going to happen anytime soon. What New York Yacht Club and their board of trustees and their officers, remember, their leadership changes on December 11th. The Vice Commodore becomes the Commodore on
okay.
December 11th.
Yeah.
So Jay Cross, who's the current Commodore, can give a quote to Grant Dalton, but that may not, I don't know, I'm just speculating, it may not hold a lot of water with the next administration. They have indefinite extension of the ACP deadline past the 9th of September. Do you know that for sure, Alex Hayworth? Have you heard that? He's got very good sources inside the Brits.
Yeah.
British thing. But let's now talk about the class rule, because this class rule and the boats that they're talking about, they're contemplating for this next cup, have got their own set of problems. This is an article from Boating New Zealand that I ran across last night, published a day ago, written by Chris Woodhams, who I don't know, and it's very rah-rah. Here we go. The class rule's out. This is going to be exciting. And he says, Chris Woodhams, the AC 75 class rules for Naples 2027 will reshape the future of the America's Cup with reused hulls, banned cyclors, battery-driven systems, and mixed crews, meaning a female required, at least one. Teams face or at least one male. Teams face a radically altered design and racing landscape. Now, Julia, we all know some of the, and I'm going to play the video now that was released by Team New Zealand that outlines in a good video with Dan Bernasconi about what their plans are. But while you're watching this, I want everybody to think about one thing. If New York Yacht Club had ever come along, or San Diego Yacht Club, or the Société Nautique Genève, tell me who, any other defender had ever come along and said, okay, we, New York Yacht Club, just won the cup using Courageous in 1977. And for the next cup, in 1980, nobody can build a new boat. You can only use your existing boats or designs built on your existing boats. We're going to use Courageous again, maybe. You know, we might use some other one, but we're going to use Courageous because that's the one we used and won. But nobody else can build a new boat. You got to use the old boats or designs based on your old boat. People would have been up in proverbial arms,
yes,
accusing the New York Yacht Club or any other defending club of feathering their own nest, again, as Harry Anderson would say, to a fairly well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be polite. I can't believe it that people are standing around saying, oh, yeah, okay, the Kiwis just won it with their boat, had arguably a radically good hull. Well, the hulls aren't in the water, doesn't make that big a difference. Excuse me. They're up in the air, and aerodynamically, they make a huge difference.
Yes.
The Kiwis can use their winning hull. The other teams have got to use their non-winning hulls. I mean, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
They have indefinite extension of the ACP deadline, Alex thinks. It's in the protocol. Yeah, well, we'll see. And Clark Chapin asserts that the America's Cup is no longer the apex of our sport. It is now a pointy little corner off to the side. So sad. Okay, so let's see what this Kiwi video is that came out after the class rule came out. And as you heard Matt Sheehan say, Matt would have gone in and studied the rule and gotten all geeky, and Richard Gladwell did do that. But watch the video, and then we'll come back and talk about these boats that they're contemplating using for AC 38.
For this America's Cup, there's a couple of really significant changes. This time around, we're not going to have any cyclors, and the power used to control the sails will all be supplied by batteries. So every team will have an identical system. That will all be controlled to mimic the amount of power that the 4 cyclors on the yacht would be able to generate. And we're taking that from data from the last Cup, so that there isn't unlimited power available, and teams still have to be efficient in the way they use that power. In doing that, we wanted all of the crew, the 5 crew members, to be really involved in sailing the boat. At least one of those is mandated to be female. Whether we'll see women helming or flight control or strategy and tactics, I think there'll be some variation across the fleet. Everyone will look at the team of people they have and try and get everyone doing the roles that they're best at. The other really significant change for this America's Cup, you could say it's a change, you could say it's staying the same, but we're not going to be building new hulls. this time around. By not building new hulls, we're getting double the value out of the hulls we have got, which is a huge cost saving and a huge environmental saving. The differences between the hulls are more visual than performance related. There's much more to be gained in the foils, the sails and the control systems. There's still a really long way to go with making the sails work well across the range in optimizing the shape and structure of the sails and the hydraulic systems that we're using to control them. I think the racing will be closer in AC38. You know, everyone feels they could have got a bit more out of the boat. Also in Naples, the breeze is a little bit stronger on average. We're also going to see some different sorts of racing. Looking forward to having fleet racing and maybe switching up the match racing a bit. It's going to be a pretty cool event.
Going to be a pretty cool event, Julia. Can you imagine if San Diego Yacht Club, after we won in '92 and Bill Koch with his team and that boat won, and we said, okay, everybody, we're going to use the old boats.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and Dan asserts that the boats are not, you know, the hulls don't make that big a difference, you know. Excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. I cannot believe this. And it's more environmental, it's more green. And we're going to have boats where there is not only very little human energy into the system, it's prohibited except by way of steering the boat. Everything else is going to be battery operated. So, I mean, it boggles my mind every time I think about it, about how this regime has ruined the America's Cup.
Yes.
And you think France is coming in with all the they have no prime minister now. He quit. They're having elections. And the economic problems they've got in France and in the continent for that matter. I weep for the Cup. So sad. We've gone from you can't use stored energy to you have to use stored energy.
Yes.
Except to steer. I mean, excuse me.
That's true. Why take steering out of it?
Yeah, right. Why don't you steer it? In fact, who knows if the steering is going to be power steering or if it's going to be direct. It probably is not even going to be direct. It's going to be power steering. Well, like on your car, you do stuff that then activates actuators and does things. The America's Cup used to be a design race. Now it's just recycling old tech. Well, that's another aspect, Jody Shields, that is disappointing. Okay, now you've seen the video. I'm going to show you some more of that article from Boating New Zealand. This is a Kiwi leading boating publication. And I want to show you another thing that the gentleman this Chris Woodhams wrote, and he said what it means for racing. Taken together, these rules mark a significant shift in Cup philosophy, you think? Closer racing. Hull differences are neutralized. What? Foils and racecraft will decide winners. What? Strategic depth with 5 crew and batteries replacing grinders, communication and tactical awareness become vital, as if it was not vital in the past? Mm-hmm. Come on. I mean, he's being fed this by Team New Zealand. Greater inclusion. Women are no longer on the sidelines. They are integral to Cup crews. Women have sailed in the Cup before. Mm-mm. Public engagement. And I know you don't, Julia. You don't agree with mandating a person of the other gender.
But you sure encourage him.
But I think encouraging him is good. And I don't mind that rule at all. But whatever. That's a detail. Public engagement. Guest racers. Okay, the guest racers, an old rule. We had that in the IACC. Guest racers and recon reports. We connect the Cup more directly to the fans. A lot of people like the recon reports, but that, again, has nothing to do with the boats. Sustainability. From e-chase boats, which the teams were terribly against because of the expense of those hydrogen boats last time, to life cycle analysis, to green initiatives are no longer just for press releases. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Gag me with a proverbial spoon, as John Coleus used to say. Mm-hmm. The AC-75 will look same to the casual eye, a breathtaking foiling monohull screaming down a course. Notwithstanding, it will not be as fast, Julia, as the F-50 sailing in Sail GP.
Yes.
But inside the cockpits, the dynamics will be utterly different. Not that you can see them or not that you ever will see them because they're secret and you don't ever see them. And it was whack-a-mole. You didn't even see the sailors, let alone inside the cockpits. Okay, enough. I don't want to get my blood pressure is not up. My heart rate stays right at 66, Julia. Chris Woodhams, New Zealand, a Kiwi, reporting in Boating, New Zealand yesterday. Now, I want you to look at some of these comments that came out to that article. I took the top 8 or 10, whatever, 8 comments off this article. I didn't go hunting and pecking through here and hand-picking various comments. Michael Strudwick, may as well stand on the shore and use a remote control. Mike Latherus, when the hull meat stays wet, give me a call. Otherwise, you may as well run the AC on wheels in a Woolies car park. Alexander Watson, what could you possibly need 5 people for if the power is battery generated and the skipper flight controller flying the boat? They going to serve tea?
What a good idea.
Huh? Do you like that?
Yes.
I didn't pick, as I said, I just took the top 8 comments off the bottom of this article and I found it last evening. Bryant Spiel. Get the computers out of the boats. Dump the foils. The last America's Cup sucked. Let's get back to match racing monohull yachts. Have 2 classes, the Club Sport Group and then the Billionaires Club. I know which group will sail harder. Okay? Now, again, I assume these are all Kiwis responding to this national boating publication, good publication, in New Zealand, Boating NZ. Mark Pascoe. This isn't peak America's Cup in innovation. This feels like the Temu version of the AC. Julia, you like Temu. You order stuff from Temu, don't you?
I do.
Cheap and cheerful. The Temu version of the America's Cup. Maybe the comment of the year, apropos the America's Cup. David Griffiths, might as well replace the sails with a wind generator and power it with an electric motor and batteries.
That's true.
Pat Hutton, so sail GP and monos. Who saw this coming? Jim Kennedy, can an existing team buy up all the existing hulls to eliminate competition? Dirk Vlad, how is banning cyclers and adding batteries more green? Team is doing very well now, John Emmett says. You have a lot of pseudonyms, Tom. I didn't write a single one of those comments. I wish I had, but I didn't. And any of you can go. And there are dozens more comments like those. I just took the top 8 because I didn't have a lot of time to cut and paste any more than that. I can't, unless somebody feels otherwise, I'll read your comment, but I think this whole thing is going down the gurgler. I think the Cup it'll always be the top event in our sport, despite the comments and my ranting and others. It will still, at least for the foreseeable future. But if this goes on much longer, you got to wonder. We're doing serious damage to the Cup, but also to the sport, because people remember when the Cup was the pinnacle, when it was the apex, was I think the word Clark Chapin used. And now they're saying, what? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of the Cup. Now you can see why I haven't done a Cup date in a while, Julia. Okay, let's carry on here and get to the last thing. As I said at the top of the show, we actually, we're an hour and 48 minutes into the show here. By the way, if you're just joining us, we do this every Tuesday and Friday at 1300 Pacific. And we have so many great viewers, thousands of views of each of the shows. And we appreciate your support very much, coming on, watching and commenting and beyond, and the submissions we get, including for the last leg today. This one came from Ed Worley. I'm going to play a video for you that is the Cup from the 30s, the J-Boat era. I'll probably get a copyright strike for the music, but it's so good. Julia, I thought we should play it. Enjoy it.
I will.
And enjoy the music, too.
add words poetic, I'm so pathetic that I always have found it best, instead of getting them off my chest, to let them rest unexpressed. I hate parading my serenading, as I'll probably miss a bar. But if this ditty is not so pretty, at least it'll tell you how great you are. You're the top, you're the Coliseum, you're the top, you're the Louvre Museum. You're a melody from a symphony by Strauss. You're a Bendel bonnet, a Shakespeare sonnet. You're Mickey Mouse. You're the Nile. You're the Tower of Pisa. You're the smile on the Mona Lisa. I'm a worthless check, a total wreck, a flop. But if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top. Salad, you're the top, you're a Berlin ballet, you're the nimble tread of the feet of Fred Astaire, you're the National Gallery of Garbossonery, you're Camembert, you're sublime, you're a turkey dinner, you're the time of the Derby winner. I'm a toy balloon that is painted soon to pop, but if baby I'm the bottom,
What do you think of that, Julia?
I loved it.
That was fined on YouTube by Ed Worley. As I say, I'll probably get a copyright strike, but so what? It's and I'm not advocating we go back to J-boats in that era, but magnificent big monohulls where people are sailing them the way 95% of us sail. And I'm also not advocating against the moth. I think putting the moth into the Olympics or a one design moth is a great idea. Great video, Tom. Real sailing. Well, thanks to Ed Worley for finding that for us, and that's what we did. Now, a couple other last legs here. This is not a video, but just to say that there is an amazing event starting, well, it starts today. The largest ever OK Dinghy Worlds is taking place in Lake Garda. 215 entries from 18 nations. It's fabulous. And Robert Deves, who's the class PR, sent us a lot of info on that. It's great stuff. And bravo Zulu to the class. And we dedicate that slide to our Fozy, J. Frederick Bland, who's struggling a bit health-wise, but is going to come good.
I got that down.
It's going to come good. And he is an OK dinghy sailor and a fin sailor, and we dedicate that to him down in Austin, Texas. This photo came in just before we went to air. Do you know where that is, Julia? Do you know that tent? Some of you will recognize that tent. Early first evening picture tonight. It took place of the 31 women. We told you about this on Tuesday's show, who signed up for this weekend's RORC Magenta Project offshore training out of Cowes. The dinner photo includes a number of coaches and cheerleaders. You might spot Jazz Turner, the famous Jazz Turner, in the bottom left corner, just almost out of frame there in the photo, which was sent. Thank you to Andrew Pindar. And this is a great event. Bravo Zulu to the Magenta Project. Bravo Zulu to the Rourke, and to everybody involved there at Cowes on the Isle of Wight. Yep, 215 OKs, Blake is correct. And back to Mark Holland there above that. As an historian, he's the guy that's done this America's Cup compendium, Julia. Mark Holland, north of Boston. As an historian, I cannot express my dismay and disappointment in the direction of the Cup. I want the best and most progressive result, but this is not the right direction.
It's doubtful that anybody knows more about the cup than he does.
Well, he and Hamish and a few others of us. But no, I mean, if we were getting 5 comments, if we were getting 1 comment on here from anybody saying that, you're all wrong, this thing is going to be great and this is the way it ought to go, I'd be, you're all wrong, this thing go. I'd actually be happier because we don't get any feedback like that from anybody, which leads me to believe most people just agree.
Shrug their shoulders.
Shrug their shoulders and are saying this is going in the wrong direction. Okay, Julia, so much. Reconnecting. It's live. We got knocked off the air there for a minute. I don't know what happened. Now the comments are coming back. Hopefully they're coming back, Julia.
Yes.
We got knocked off the air there for a minute. I'm not quite sure what happened. Been some internet issues here today, but the man who kept his boat beside his house was ordered by the city to put up a fence to hide the boat from view.
So he did.
That came from Ed Worley. Huge fight at the local seafood diner. Battered fish everywhere. Okay, you got to have a groaner once in a while. Ed sent that one as well, Julia.
Yes.
And then there was this one. The Wodonga suburb of Australia welcomes anyone who adopts our culture and obeys our laws. We all work hard, eat bacon, and drink beer. Please take note of the above notice. You are not in bloody England. Greg Phillips sent that. Now, do you know where Wodonga is?
I don't.
Well, you know me. You'd think poorly of me if I didn't show you a map, but there it is, midway between Canberra and Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Just over the border in Victoria. Wodonga, I like that.
Yes.
You haven't sailed today, talked about sailing, or worked on your sailboat. The church sent someone over to witness the miracle. Peter Stevenson.
That was good.
That was good. It was clean, too. And then this is a particularly clean but funny one, apropos social media today. It could have been a caption contest. It looked a lot bigger in your profile picture. Come on, it's a little boat, Julia.
Oh, yes.
She's up there on the end of the pier, the end of the dock, saying it looked a lot bigger in your profile picture.
Yeah, and dressed for an afternoon sail.
Exactly. Clay Embley sent that one in.
That's a good one.
And Julia, because this is the drinking show with a sailing habit, my family told me to get help for my drinking, so I hired a bartender.
What a good idea.
What a good idea. Clay Embley sent that in. And a clean one from South Africa. When you want a bow thruster, but you're on a budget. Ted Ryman. Did I use that one before?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, I don't think I've used that before. Okay, well, that's the end of those, except the Blake Middleton one we always like. All the smartest people sail, and there is that one from Blake. Gets us to the finish line. And Julia, this show number 865, you like to say...
Yes. This is a superb opportunity to like, follow, and share.
Indeed. And comments are always welcome, even in replay. Those of you watching, and many of you do watch in replay, Sailing Illustrated. We appreciate your support via Patreon, www.patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. This is viewer-supported media, and we appreciate your contributions monthly via Patreon or otherwise. Thank you very much for your support. And also we appreciate as a big THANKYOU to those who give us pictures, Julia, images, audio, and video, courtesy of those people. Final thoughts?
I was just thinking of Sharon Green. There was a cute picture of her that she submitted, which says there was a parking space sign designed for her.
Oh, yeah, at St. Francis.
At St. Francis.
Well, yeah, but that's been going on for years.
Not personally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the photographers, they get because Rolex loves those photographers. So Sharon Green's got her own parking sign over there.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I saw that. And,
Nice.
you know, that's a local regatta, the Big Boat Seas. Seriously, which started to yesterday.
Yes. And when are we going?
I don't know. Are we going over there?
Yes.
I don't know. We'll see. Hey, cheers, everybody. Thank you. her parking spot sign was brilliant. Well, they do that for them. Daniel and the other photographers have that as well. So, okay, thank you for that. Have a great weekend wherever in the world you are. Go sailing, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. We'll hope to see you same time, same channel next Tuesday. Ciao for now.